I'm Liselle Sambury. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things traditional publishing and my journey within traditional publishing and writing and all of that fun stuff. And yeah, this is the March vlog. And the month the month is off to a bit of a rocky start. I guess not a rocky start because it's already like the 9th. So maybe not a start, just a tougher beginning. So to set the stage, yesterday was a tough day for me. Yesterday was a tough day. So yesterday, Wednesday in traditional publishing and certainly in Kidlit, is usually the day where, you know, you get your first week sales. And when you have your first week sales, then, you know, they do the lists and the bestseller lists and things like that. And I did not expect to be on any of those lists. I really didn't expect to be on any of them. I thought maybe I could sneak onto the indie, but then I saw that one fairly early and I wasn't on it, and I was pretty much from there, I was like, okay, that's not a thing that's happening. But it's fine because those were really dreams. And so I was really just concerned about what my first week sales were going to be. And it takes a little bit for them to like load into the system. So by the time I got to see them, it must have been around like 2 o'clock or something like that. And they were just, they were not what any of us wanted or expected. And from there, I proceeded to cry on and off from about 2 o'clock until about 6:30 in the evening. So when I saw the sales and I realized, oh, those are my first week sales, then I cried then. Hold on, the dog wants to leave. Yeah, so when I first saw the sales and I realized, oh, those are the sales, then I cried. And then I thought, maybe I'll distract myself with a graphic novel. And then the dedication of the graphic novel was like, for anyone that feels lost, and I immediately cried again. And then I got an email from my agent, very much trying to cheer me up, and tell me how proud of the book she was. And then I cried because I was like, I don't think it's a bad book. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. So I'll finish off naming the crying sessions. And then I went to the grocery store because I thought I would get my favorite clementines from the fancy grocery store to help me feel better. And then I just randomly cried in the car. So there was that. And then I got home and then Kevin from Kevin the Writer sent me a video of my book in Target, because when I was in LA for tour, we had gone to Target and we couldn't find it, and I was like, oh well, you know, it is what it is. And so he happened to be in Target and he had found it, and so then I was really happy that it had shown up in Target and it wasn't, you know, the book being in Target wasn't some like fever dream. And so then I also cried then. which was more of a happy cry, but you know, and that was the end of it. This is all not what any of us expected, and it's, I think, clear that this is disappointing for all of us. That being said, I do still think it's a good book, and I'm still very proud of this book. And, you know, some of you on the channel and then a lot of people online, you know, people have said really wonderful things about this book. And I think the book is reaching readers, and the readers that it's reaching, I think, are for the most part enjoying the book. I think it's getting great critical reception. I think it just wasn't the book that people had to run out the second it was out to pick up a copy. And I think that's fair. And I think honestly that's been the case mostly for my other books. I think with the exception of Blood Like Magic, is that it needs time to build. It's just kind of the way it goes. And my publisher is hopeful that, you know, things will build up over time, which makes me feel better, because it's not like, oh gosh, well, it just failed and that's the end of it. You know, I think we're looking to see, you know, this is really the first week and it didn't come out of the first week swinging, but we're going to see what the longevity of it is, because I think it's just the sort of thing where it's going to have to build up and people are going to have to hear about it and it's going to have to be circulated and people will have to, you know, hear about it a few times for a little while before they get around to picking up copies and things like that. But it was just like the whole Cry Fest was really because I just knew that things would be easier if it had come out the gate swinging. I just knew things would be easier. I wouldn't have to be anxious about, is my publisher going to do the same amount of stuff they did for this one for my next book, because we did all this work for this one and like it didn't do what we thought it would do. And so then are they going to feel that it's worth doing the same thing for the next book? And then I'm going to probably be submitting my proposal this month. And so it's like, are they going to want to buy more of those books because it was supposed to do something and it didn't really do it right off the bat? And it might still do well over the lifetime, but that's kind of a guess, right? So that was what was rough for me. And that's what made that whole day rough. But I'm good today. I've had my moment of emotion. I've had my moment of grand catastrophizing and all of that stuff. And today I think I've come down very well and recovered very well. But yeah, yesterday was that was a tough day. That was a very rough day. That was not a fun day for me. So yeah, that was kind of how Wednesday went. So yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say about that. It was a rough day, and I don't know how things will go in the future, and I'm hopeful that things will turn out, because as I say, I know it's not a case of it not being a good book. It's just a case of, you know, probably just not enough people knowing about it, or not enough of the people that know about it being like feral to go like run out and get it right away. So, but yeah, so that's that. But I have been working on stuff. So I got my book 4 edits back. I've been calling this Bear Hunt. It does have a new title, but I don't know when that's going to get revealed. We're still working on the cover. We're still going through a bunch of different things, but because I've been involved in the cover process, we have recently, my publishers come up with a concept that I really, really like, and like some other 2 concepts as well. And so I'm really excited about moving forward in those directions and seeing what comes from that. So I think the cover stuff is proceeding. Then when it's all done, we'll go ahead and reveal the cover and title all at once. But so I've gotten my second developmental edits back for that. And so I've worked through all of that and I have a plan. And right now I'm just kind of getting everything plugged into like which chapter and like what am I going to do where. I also have a chat with my editor this morning to talk about something that she had brought up, and I wanted to kind of talk it out more, though I did earlier yesterday when I was in a better mindset. I had come up with a possible solution, so I'm going to run that by her today and see what she thinks, and then I'll proceed there. And then I've also gotten my second dev edits back for the short story I was working on, that middle grade Space Potato Farm one. And so I have to do some fairly significant edits on that one. So I'm cutting out a character just because it was so long, and then they kind of felt like the main character was getting lost in the secondary character's story, and like adding more to the main character would have just added more words, and I was already over word count anyway, so I just decided to cut out the secondary character and just focus only on one character. So that's basically what's going to be happening there. So I'm rewriting the whole thing to cut out that character and reshift. So yesterday, again, before everything, I rewrote the first 2 sections. Like, they're all scenes. It's a short story, so there's not actually chapters, but like the first 2 scenes, there's 4 scenes in all. So I rewrote the first 2 scenes, and today I'll rewrite the last 2 scenes, and then tomorrow I'll read over everything and do an edit, and then I think I'm gonna let it rest on the weekend, and then on Monday I'll do a second read through just to make sure I'm happy with everything. Whereas for Monday I'm gonna start with my 2024 book. I'll just start doing the edits, and my agent said she's gonna throw back the proposal edits to me on Thursday, which is today. So I'll probably start working on those next week also. Probably once I'm done the short story stuff, just so that I can focus on 2 projects at once instead of like trying to squish in 3 in there. And yeah, so that's kind of the plan for the month. I'm really just, what I'm doing for the bulk of it is working on this 2024 book. I also have whatchamacallit, I have a workshop that I'm doing in April, and so I wanted to start prepping for that as well and get that ready. And so that's kind of everything I've got going on for this month that I'm going to be working on this month. And yeah, just kind of working hard to use my anxiety strategies and not fall into catastrophizing and all of that stuff, because yeah, I really had hoped. It was like that TikTok sound where it's like, you better fix my entire life. Like, I think I put more pressure than I thought on these sales kind of like fixing my life. Not that it's broken, but I think I really just wanted that to go well, because it would make me feel like everything else was going to go well. And it's not to say that everything's going to go badly now, but it's just, it would have made it easier to feel hopeful, and now it's harder. But I'm still holding on to it, so we will see how everything turns out. But as I've learned, I was like, I'm not a psychic. I cannot predict the future. And so no matter what anxiety tells me, I literally can't predict the future. So we'll see how everything goes. But yeah, I mean, in the spirit of transparency, is not a great week for me.
To the place, a spot you from a ways. My heart, it started racing. The crowd across the way, flowers on your face, and then I'm from the 80s. Someone keeps blocking my way. I can't feel farther away. Wait on a moment to say that I want you. You know that I want you.
It is Friday, and how are things since our first update? Things are better. I am doing better. I think it was also positive for me that I was talking to my agent / editor, and my editor was talking about how even though these weren't the sales numbers for Delicious Monsters that we expected, that they're still really great numbers and they're still great sales. So I told myself, after this whole debacle with Blood Like Fate, where I thought it had done terribly and they told me the sales were actually good and fine, and I decided not to believe them, and I spent the whole year basically thinking Blood Like Fate had done terribly, just to hear in the new year, so in January of this year, that it had earned out. So it had clearly done fine, and I should have just believed them when they told me the sales were good. And so I have decided that even if this wasn't what we expected or were kind of hoping for, that if they told me they were still good, and so I will believe them. I am moving forward in that way. And it's so interesting because I was talking with my therapist. I was catching her up on all of this, and I was talking about how, I had started there were things that I had hoped for, and I didn't realize how much hoping for things had actually become putting pressure on myself to get results that I know I have no control over. And so I think kind of going forward, I almost can't even hope for specific things, because I'm not, to me, like when you hope for something, You hope something will happen, but if it doesn't, it's okay. But that's not really what I'm doing. I'm hoping for something to happen and it doesn't happen, and then I'm very crushed. And so to me, that feels more like I put pressure on myself and I created an expectation than I was like hoping for something. So I think like, and I talked to this about my therapist. She was like, maybe going forward, you just kind of, you can't, essentially in a much more elegant way or eloquent way, maybe I don't put anything of any kind on the future uncontrollable results of things with books. And I think that's good for me. So I am doing much better. I'm feeling good. I'm working on my other stuff, which is great. So I have been working on the horror trio, the proposal that we're doing with my agent. And so we had a call to chat some things through. There was this whole thing in which I thought I had put something in the proposal because it was in my head. And then my agent kept having all these questions about it. And I was like, but I put that in, right? And then I looked and I hadn't. So that's Liselle doing edits on the road for you. So I chatted with her about that and she was like, okay, I think that's going to work better. And so I made all those changes. I thought I might need until next week to get it done, but I actually was able to get it done this week, which is great. So we sent it off. Though I've also learned that we have a lot more time to work on this. So I think we had originally been like, oh, we'll just submit it whenever. But because of the way contracts are for your option, like your publisher has a certain time period in which they can read and get back to you. And so the thing with Delicious Monsters, when I had submitted that to my publisher, that wasn't part of my option as part of the Blood Like Magic, Blood Like Fate deal. And so we weren't limited by those parameters, but we gave them an exclusive look at it because I like my publisher. And we were like, yeah, no, that's fair. We'll do that. But because this option, which is your publisher's first look at your next book, the parameters of my option, like the horror trio falls within those. And so now there's a specific period of time that they have to look over all of that. And it is good to get that in your contract because I've heard horror stories from other authors of them not having a time period in their contract and having publishers just taking like sitting on their option for like 6 months, just kind of like chilling on it, taking their time to make a decision. And you don't want that because you want to know, like, are you interested or not, so you can decide whether you're going to push it out wider. So, and so because of that, just the way the dates are, it's like kind of dependent on what stage we are with book 4, with Bear Hunt. And so because we're still at an earlier stage with Bear Hunt, there's actually quite a bit of time before that period comes into effect, essentially. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. But essentially they're probably going to have until like, what is it, March now, April? They're probably going to have until like end of May to look over things. So we can still send it to them early, but there's not like really any sort of crunch time to getting the proposal. So we're just working on it, which is good because it gives us as much time as we need to get that all squared up. So there's that. And then I have also been working on my edits for book 4 for Bear Hunt. I was like, it's not called Bear Hunt anymore, but that's not going to be revealed. The real title's not going to be revealed for a while. So I've been working on edits for that and they've been going well. I think I thought they were going to be heavier, but they're actually lighter edits. And so I'm just really taking my time combing through each chapter to kind of give back the most polished version for when we have line edits. So I'm working away on that and that's going well. I am halfway through now, so I have 2 more weeks of work. I think I'm looking at my calendar. Yep, I have 2 more weeks of work and then I'll be all finished with that. And then next week, the anthology, I've been working on edits for one of the anthologies that isn't announced. This is the Space Potato Farm short story. And so I just wanted to give myself a little bit of space with that so that on Monday I can do a read through, having like had some time away from it just a little bit so that I can catch more things, because I didn't want to do the read through right after I'd done the edits, because I was worried that meant that I wouldn't catch a lot of things, and so I asked for a little bit more time. And so I'm going to do that read through on Monday, and then I should be done with that. And I've also been doing research reading for the couples retreat, which is the adult horror thriller that I'm going to be working on this year, that I got my grant for to work on, and it is I think it's actually my 5th attempt at an adult horror thriller, but I'm really excited about this one. I'm excited about the concept, and I've been doing some reading of other books that I think will like give me some good ideas, and so that's been going really well, so that's good. And yeah, that's essentially where I'm at this point in time. And next week, I think for the next 2 weeks, barring the Monday that I spend working on the anthology, I'm basically going to be 100% working on book 4, which I'm excited about. Also, Hosier's new EP came out with the song Eat Your Young, and it's so good, and it's so like, it so fits with book 4, so I'm very excited. I've already put on my little playlist. It so fits, and I'm getting really excited about this book. Like, I can really feel my excitement of working on it really building, and that's really good, and that's how I want to feel. And so I think doing a lot better. But sometimes I think that's the thing about writing and publishing, like sometimes you have disappointments in the industry, and it's kind of like this whole industry is about perseverance and chugging along, and so I think it's fair to have had my sad moment, had my disappointed moment, and just kind of move on to my next thing, because I'm fortunate enough to have next things coming. So yeah, and I will see you next week Friday.
Caught your sudden gaze and time it started racing. Moments tend to fade, and you're too far away from me to get my name in. Someone keeps blocking my way. I can't feel further away. Wait on the moment to say that I want you. You know that I want you.
Yeah, it's giving very vintage Liselle, because my hair was in braids forever. Like, my mom just would put my natural hair in braids all the time until I was like 16, and like begged to have it straightened so that I could do like different styles with it. But like, this was one of my looks. I'd like have one braid down and I'd put the rest up in a little ponytail. So this feels very classic. But anyway, here we are. It is Monday, because I forgot to update on Friday, so I'm just doing a Monday update now. So last week, what happened? So I got my pretty much like as soon as I handed in my second dev edits for my short story, for the Potato Farm short story. I got line edits back, which were very like light, so I did them right there and sent them right back. So that's great. It's because like big strides were made on that, so only copy edits and past pages left for that. And the editor was happy with the changes, so I can't remember if I talked about it or not, but I essentially had like a main character and then like a very prominent secondary character, and it was just like too much to fit in the story and taking away from the main character, so I cut out the secondary character and rewrote it. And so it was basically like that, and the editor was very happy with those changes, so that worked out. And then otherwise, I'd just been working on Bear Hunt. I almost said, there's always a point where I get with these books where the title changes, and I keep almost saying the new title. It's like, what a trip. Anyway, so I've been working on that, and that's going well. I'm pretty much almost done. This will be the last week that I'm working on it, so I'll be done on Friday for my deadline, which is great. I think the biggest chunk of the work that I've been doing is on the journal entries, which I feel like every time I work on this project, I'm doing something to finesse these journal entries. But essentially, like, there was a character that my editor thought it would be better to have them be more prominent in the entries, so I had to go and do that. And then we decided that, this like, there's this figure in the book, and so we decided that like that figure should I gave him a name, and so we decided that name should like come up in the journal entries earlier. And so I did that, and so it's been a lot of that. And I have been trying to make it a little bit more creepy and unsettling, but because I'm doing more shifting building block things, I feel like I might be like waiting until line edits to like really, really get that tone right, because I feel like right now the journal is very like, these are all the things that need to like happen or be said or like be talked about or what have you. And I feel like it's so focused on that now. And hopefully when I get to the line edits, that's when I can kind of like do some like line level shifting to make sure that tone is perfect. So those continue to be a sort of work in progress, but I do think they're coming along well. I just wonder if like there's more that could be done at a line level. But yeah, I think that's something to save for line edits in my case, because I just want to make sure that I have all these building block pieces correctly in place, and then I can like fiddle around with little bits of it. So yeah, I've been doing that, but otherwise it's been going along well. These have been very like doable, manageable edits, and like some chapters definitely have more to do because I've made some shifts or changes, and then I had to like do more building block things. But a lot of it has been like finessing little things and like making sure, you know, threads are clear throughout and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's been going well, and so I'm hopeful that we can make some more strides on that. I have been seeing some cover sketches and stuff throughout, and so I think we're just kind of recently like solidified the concept that we're going with, because kind of the earlier stages of the cover so far, this is the most involved I've been in the cover process, but kind of the earlier stages were really just kind of like, well, what if we did this, or what if we did this, or what if we did this, or what if we did this, what about this? And it's been just kind of like, what do we actually like? And I think now the team has kind of like, I haven't been helpful at all. I've been very like, I don't know, what about this, or what about this? So like I haven't had any definitive idea of what I think the cover should look like either. And I think that's been the funny thing, because like you're always like, man, I want to like I've been like, yeah, I want to be more involved in this cover process, and that's cool. And then I like get involved and I'm like, I don't know. So you know, I feel a little bit for publishing teams in that case, when you're like, yeah, I want to be involved, and then you're like, I don't have any ideas either. So but no, it's come together. They've come up with a really great concept that I do like, and I think will work really well. And so I've seen some kind of, you know, preliminary stuff around that, and they're just kind of finalizing that. And so I'm excited to see how that progresses down the line. And yeah, excited for us to kind of iron down all the little nitty-gritty things, like a synopsis, so that I can like have something a little bit more concrete about like how I'm telling people about this story, because I feel like whenever I talk about Delicious Monsters, they're like, okay, what's next? And then I'm like trying to express this in a succinct way, and I like have not quite figured it out yet. So I feel like I'm saying so much more information that is necessary. So that'll be great. And then of course, once the cover is, you know, squared up, then I'll get to share the new title as well, which I'm very excited about. So yeah, that was last week. I also got like my taxes aren't finished yet, but I got kind of like a preliminary estimate, and it seems like I'm going to owe less than what I put aside, which is also great, because that gives me a little bit more savings to build upon while I wait and see if I'm going to sell a book. And so, you know, a little bit more to kind of squirrel away for the next year, while I'm in this kind of insecure time. But that was that. And then this week, as I mentioned, this is my last week of doing Bear Hunt edits, so I'm going to be done by the end of this week, which is great. And then I also heard back from my agent about the horror trio proposal, and she was basically like, no notes, everything is great and looking really good. And so what we're going to do is we're going to let it sit for a little bit, because we have like because of the option, we have like a certain date when we'd want to hand it in, and they have a certain time to read and all of that stuff. I'm pretty sure I talked about that in another clip. So we're just gonna let it chill for a little bit, and then right before that time we're gonna do one more like pass on it with fresh eyes, and then we'll be able to give that over to my editor and see what they think. But I'm feeling very positive about it, and my agent is feeling very positive about it. We're really excited about the project, so fingers crossed that the publisher will also be really excited about the project. But yeah, and otherwise we're at the end of the month. It's wild. It feels like this month has like kind of flown by. I remember feeling like shocked that it had been the end of the month, and then I had also done a lot this month. I think I didn't think it was gonna be that much because I only had like a small amount of things on my to-do list, but things just kept being added as things were coming in. But it was good because I was able to shift work around as needed, so that was great. And then I'm also starting to work on my workshop. So I'm going to be doing a workshop with the Fold, talking all about layered plotting and like how to create complex storylines using a layered plotting style, which if you've seen my video where I do that review of Plotter, which I'll link down below, that is essentially like that layered plotting style, and I've just been like finessing that and like solidifying that as I've worked on other books. And so I'm basically just doing a workshop, sharing how I do all of that and how I get that down. So if you're interested in taking that workshop, I will put a link below for registration as well. So that's happening, I believe at the time that this video will be posted, like the upcoming Saturday. So there's still time to sign up and all of that if you are interested. I'm doing that through the Fold, which is the Festival of Literary Diversity, who I'm working with. And so if you're interested in that, you can check that out. But and otherwise things are going good. Delicious Monsters is now in stores throughout Indigo's in Canada. So just because Indigo had like that cybersecurity thing, like we weren't sure if the book was in store or not, and now it is like they've confirmed it is in stores. And I've been seeing some like really great my friend sent me a photo. I'll like flash some on screen, but like my friend sent me a photo of the Eaton Center Indigo in Toronto, and my other friend sent me a photo of the Bay and Bloor Indigo in Toronto, and they all had like in the like actual stacks where it's like has the author, they all have like so many copies of Delicious Monsters out in the stacks, which I'm really excited about and I really appreciate. I was like, it's a wild amount of copies. Like usually when I go into the stacks, like at Indigo in particular, they'll tend to have like more copies of my books, which is great. But usually like, you know, like maybe like 3 to 6 copies of the book between like Blood Like Magic and Blood Like Fate. And these are like massive, like one was like a row and a half almost, or like half a row each, and like making into a full row together. So it was like very large expanses of shelf space. So I'm very excited and appreciative about that. And so things are like going pretty well, and I'm just chugging along. And April is going to be kind of a busy month for me, I think, towards the end of April, but also kind of in the beginning because I'm doing that workshop, so I got to do all the prep and putting together of the workshop, and then like the performing of the workshop, and that's during Easter weekend. And so then there's Easter weekend, and then like suddenly it's gonna be time to travel again, and I'll be going to California for Y'all West, and then back to Toronto to do stuff with the Fold. So, and I'm moderating a panel, so I've got to like get books read and stuff like that and prepare questions. So it's gonna be busy, but we're still in March right now. So that was that quite long update, and I will see you again on Friday.
Smile in the morning, following the linings on your cheeks. 'Cause baby, in your absence life is boring, so I'll never leave. It's easier to love when it's you by my side, shining through the cracks like the first past tells me stories of life in a more perfect place where I wanna stay. It's easier to love when it's you by my side, shining through the cracks like the first morning light, feeling like a child through the days and the night.
Hello, it is Friday. It is the end of the week. It is the end of the month, and it is the end of my edits on Bear Hunt. I'm very excited. I just finished my second round of developmental edits, and I sent that off to my editor. Usually, this is the last round of developmental edits, and we go into line edits. And I think because these edits, even though they still took me a while, they were still I feel relatively light, so I feel we'll have no problem moving into line edits, which I'm excited about. But yeah, it's good. I'm very, very happy with the ending. This ending has gone through many iterations at this point. It's gone through a bunch of different things at this point, but I'm happy with where it is. I think originally when I had I'd made a change to the epilogue, or Bobo, do you have to do this right now? Thank you. This dog, let me take a pause. This dog, I was recording for a podcast, which I'll link down below if it's here by now. I did a podcast with the Melanated Library. Recording this podcast, and Bobo is snoring so loud. I finally had to, it was distracting me when I was talking, and I finally had to stop and be like, can you hear her? Chelsea was like, I wondered what that was. And I was like, okay, my God. And so I tried to shoo her out of the room, and she refused to go, which I was shocked by, because usually when I'm recording things and I'm talking, she gets really annoyed and she's like, I don't want to be in the room with you. So I'm trying to shoo her. She won't go. Anyway, so I have to get my AirPods and do it. You're like, why didn't you use your AirPods in the first place? Because weirdly, when I record things or do things and there's sound, it comes out way better when I don't use the AirPods. So I really just kind of use the AirPods if I need to block out outside sound, which I didn't think I would need to, but apparently I did. Anyway, and so now she was just loudly cleaning herself, which she's going to attempt to do again. She doesn't care. But anyway... So I was talking about Bear Hunt. So I'm just, now where the ending is, I'm very happy, because before there was a period where I kind of felt like it was two epilogues, because the ending had been the chapter that came before the epilogue, and that had been the end. And then, my editor kind of thought that felt a little bit incomplete, and so I added this epilogue, but then I was like, oh, now it kind of feels like there's two, but I did some fixing of the second to last chapter, so now the epilogue really does feel more like an epilogue, and I actually really like it because it's pretty creepy and unsettling, and so I'm a big fan of it. So I'm just very happy with how everything has come together. And then I also had to do some tweaking because the title is different. And so now that the title is different, I had to do some little tweaking bits in between the story to make sure that I could get the title in, or not the whole title, but so people could see the connection between the title and the book. And I'm also happy with that came out, because it ended up leading to me shifting some of the kind of ending lines. Anyway, I'm very happy with how it's all come together. Did I somehow add 5,000 words during that process? I absolutely did, but it is under 120,000 words, which means it is still officially the shortest full-length YA book I've put out or will be putting out. So I'm still very happy with it, because, that's a win to me. That's a win to me, and I'm going to take it. But yeah, I'm very pleased with it, very happy with it. And so, yeah, I just I finished, and I really felt like this is good, and I really love this, and this has come together so well, and I'm very happy with what I have created here, which I think is in this stage, it's so much I can really get to that point, whereas I'm thinking about, when I'm in the beginning stage with books and I'm so stressed about if it's like actually good. But yeah, so very, very happy about that. And now that is off. And yeah, I guess we'll see. Maybe Lynette's will be turned around somewhat quickly. I don't really know the timeline for this book anymore. So I have no idea when it's going to come out. I have no idea any of that stuff. But I have seen some very close to final cover stuff for it. Almost said the title again. But I've seen some very close to final cover stuff for it, and I'm very, very excited about it. I think it looks really good, and I think it's like different. It feels different, which is what I liked about the Delicious Monsters cover, is that it felt different from other like horror thriller covers, and it's just like, it's so good, and it's like once again creepy. So if you like the creepiness of the Delicious Monsters cover, it's like got a great creepiness to it, and I'm just really excited to see how we progress and how we finalize it, because it is, I think, very close to being final. We just have some little like tweaks with the illustration. There were some tweaks and comments that I had as well, just for like book accuracy things, and then there were some like tweaks that my editor and the publisher wanted to do, and then I think we're gonna play with the font and stuff like that. So very much looking forward to that and how that all comes together. So exciting stuff on the horizon. And otherwise, it's been like pretty quiet. I feel like this month flew by, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, Delicious Monsters has been out for a month. Like, I was just like, oh, that happened so fast. And it's so funny now because I know how this vlog started. And it was very like, but I am feeling so much better now. And I already was like shortly thereafter, but now I just like, that feels so far away. Like, I can't even imagine like having that much emotion at the beginning of the month. But it's been really good, and I've really appreciated like everyone that's like read the book and like told me how much they've loved it, or have talked about it, or recommended it, or shared it with friends. I appreciate so much, and that's a book that I continue to be very proud of. And so it's really just like, it has so far to go from here. It is really only a month old, which is wild because it feels like it's been out for ages and ages and ages, but it really has not. It has been a single month. So yeah, and I've got some fun stuff on the horizon, a little bit more traveling in the future, which is going to be cool. Those continue to crop up, traveling. So you'll see a good amount of traveling, I guess, from me this year as time goes on. But yeah, that's kind of, I think, everything of note that happened this month. Yeah. And so next month I'm going to be I'm continuing to work on getting this workshop ready. As I said below, if you're interested in this workshop, it's about layered plotting. So how to create complex storylines using this kind of layered plotting technique that I have developed for my own work. And I'm basically just sharing how I do that, and it's a free workshop being put on by The Fold, and so I'll have a link below. As of the time this video is posting, as I said, it'll be happening on the next Saturday? No, this Saturday. As of the week this video is posting, this Saturday is when it will be happening. So go ahead and register because it's completely free to, you know, jump in and hang out and see how that process goes. So that's that. And I'm continuing to work on just getting that ready, and I'll continue to, you know, I'll be practicing and stuff like that next week. And then I'm also going to get started on plotting the couples retreat, which is my adult horror thriller that I'm going to be working on. And so I'm going to start plotting that next month. And I will probably have some other stuff to do at some point, but I don't know when that's going to come up. And I will also be going to Y'all West. So you'll see me pop up and do that at the end of the month as well. So yeah, things to look forward to in the next vlog. But that is really it for this vlog. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!